Hello and welcome to Namaste Thunder Bay. I'm Kelly Rooney and I'll be guiding you in a 25-minute yoga practice today. I'm really excited to share this practice with you because it's a little faster paced and maybe a little bit more physically challenging. We're definitely going to be focusing in on the core and then finding some ways to really relax and unwind at the end. So this is very much my type of yoga class, and somebody that was close to me once said, teach the kind of yoga that you love and the people who need it will find it. So that's what I'm here to share with you today. So let's start off by centering into our body. You can stay seated or you can lie back. It's up to you. We're going to take a moment to focus in on our breath, and you might want to close your eyes or lower your gaze so that you can take away any distractions. And start to notice the rhythm of your breath. Is your breath choppy or smooth at this point? Where do you feel your body expanding and contracting as you breathe? Just a reminder that as you're observing your breath, we're not trying to change it, we're not judging it, we're just noticing. See if you can start to notice the sound of your own breath. Can you feel the air coming in and out of your nose? Now that you've taken time to really become aware of your breath, let's direct our breathing. If you're lying down or seated, you can place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. And as you breathe in, feel your belly expanding, and then your chest. Exhale, lowering the chest, and then the belly. Inhale, expanding the belly, and then the chest. Exhale from the chest, and then the belly. Continue that rhythm. Deep breath expanding the belly, then the chest. Slight pause at the top of the inhale. Exhale, lowering the chest, and then the belly. We're looking for a wave-like motion. Belly fills and then the chest. Hand on the chest falls and then hand on the belly. Find your rhythm, exploring this Dirga breath. Dirga is the Sanskrit word to describe this breath. It's a three-part breath. You feel that belly expanding and then the chest all the way up to the collarbone. And then exhale from the collarbone, chest, and belly. One more deep breath. You can maintain that breath throughout your practice, or you can release it and take a moment to notice any changes in the body or your mind. Any of the effects of having a few deep breaths into the body. Now is a really great time to set your intention for your time on the mat today. And then we'll get moving, drawing our body to move in time with our breath. So if you're seated, or if you're lying back, you come up to a seated position. If you're seated, make sure you have a tall spine and breathe in, drawing your hands up in front of your body as you inhale. And as you exhale, rotate through the shoulder blades, stretching wide in either direction, coming down. Inhale, the hands up overhead. Exhale, nice wide circle. Inhale up. And exhale, rotating. with your arms down at your sides. Inhale your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, bring your right hand down to your left knee and twist and look away over your shoulder. Inhale, bringing both hands up to center. Exhale, switching to the other side. Inhale up to center. Exhale, twist. Inhale up. And exhale to the other side. This time as you inhale, both hands up overhead, interlace the fingers together, stretch the palms up toward the ceiling, relax the shoulder blades down the back, take a deep breath in, release the fingers and exhale the arms down to your sides. When your arms are at your sides, you can slowly lower the ear, your left ear to your left shoulder. And if you like, you can place your left hand over on your right shoulder, or you can bring it up and over your head and let it rest there. We're not pulling the neck, we're not trying to draw the head down with force, just using the weight of our own arm, letting time and gravity help to release any tension in the neck. Lowering your hand down to your side. Draw your neck up slowly to neutral and then over to the other side. And this time, if you want, the right hand can go to the left shoulder or up and over the head, placing it there, letting the weight of the arm release tension. Lowering the hand down to the side, draw the head up to neutral. And then just a few little semicircles through the neck to make sure that you're loosened up. And then we'll draw up to hands and knees. When you come up onto your mat for hands and knees, you want to make sure that you're putting your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, top of the feet pressed into the mat, fingertips gripping the mat. Back is straight and your spine is strong, not allowing the slouch, not hunching. You want to make sure the core is engaged so your belly button is drawing up towards your spine. We're going to take the left hand forward and the right heel back. Your gazing point can be ahead or down, depending on what feels better in your neck. You're breathing and smiling. And lower down. Take the right hand forward and the left heel back. And again, just making sure that right hip is tucked up nice and high toward the midline, not letting it slip out to the side. And lowering down. We're going to take a little step forward with the hands, grip the mat firmly, curl the toes under at the back, and begin to press the hips up and back. For downward dog, you can keep a bend in the knee, and even if the knees are bent, you want to visualize lifting the tailbone up, letting the heart sink down. You can lower one heel down at a time to explore loosening up the hamstrings, the glutes. You also want to visualize bringing your belly button in towards your spine. And then you can begin to walk the feet toward the hands. When your feet are near your hands, allow your body to come into the forward fold, relaxing and releasing any tension in your upper body, letting yourself melt into this fold. If you need a bend in your knees, that's fine. Listen to your body. And begin to come up slowly, one vertebrae at a time, so that your head is the last to come up. We're going to explore some sun salutations, which are our greeting to the sun. And the greeting to the sun can be both hello and goodbye. So it doesn't have to only be in the morning that you do your sun salutations. So we'll start off standing on our mat, drawing our hands up to heart center for Anjali Mudra. And then draw your breath in. Let it all out. Inhale, drawing your hands together up overhead for a back bend. And as you exhale, draw the hands down in front of the body into your forward fold. Inhale, coming halfway up to a flat back. And exhale, stepping the left foot back. Then step the right foot back into downward dog. From your downward dog, wave through the body, coming into your plank position. And in your plank position, remember, you can drop your knees down. All you need to focus on is having a nice straight back. And as you lower down, exhale, trying to bring the body down to the mat slowly, keeping the arms really tight to the body. And then inhale, bringing the chest and shoulders up. Elbows are coming toward one another for cobra. Pressing up and back to downward dog. In this version of our sun salutation, we're going to stay here for a few breaths. So in your downward dog, make sure your hands are firmly gripping the mat. Tailbone is lifting up. Heart is sinking down. Belly button is drawn in toward the spine. And inhale your right foot up into the air for three-legged dog and draw it forward, bringing the foot close to the hands. You can step it forward. If you need to pick it up and shuffle it forward, that's fine. We're going to then step the left foot next to the right. Going to breathe in, coming halfway up to a flat back. And then folding forward. Let go of all the tension. Draw the palms of the hands together, coming up slowly, one vertebrae at a time, drawing the hands up through heart center. Extend into the air for a back bend. And draw them down to heart center to close. Full breath in. Let it all out. Lowering your hands down to your sides, we're going to take a dynamic flow to come back into our downward dog. Starting with your hands at your sides. Inhale, drawing the hands up overhead. And exhale, swan diving forward, leading with the heart. Inhale, halfway up to a flat back. Exhale, plant the hands down and step the feet back to plank. From here, we're going to draw the hips up and back for downward dog. Now we're going to do a little bit of core work from our downward dog, so you want to make sure that those hands are firmly planted. We're going to inhale the left foot up into the air for three-legged dog. Bring it forward and tap the left knee to the left elbow and draw it back up to three-legged dog. Then bring it forward and bring it over to the right elbow and back up to three-legged dog. Draw the knee in towards center for a tiger curl, bringing nose to knee. Press up and back to downward dog. Lower the foot down. Feel free to pedal out the feet. And sink into your downward dog. Make sure your hands are firmly gripping the mat. Inhale the right foot up into the air. Bring the right knee forward to the right elbow and back to downward dog. Right knee to left elbow and downward dog, three-legged. Then draw the knee in for a tiger curl and back up to three-legged dog, lowering the foot down to downward dog. We're going to have a little fun moving through the motion of downward dog back to plank. And tapping our knees down and drawing back up to downward dog. So to demonstrate, roll forward into plank, tap the knees down and draw up and back to downward dog. Roll forward into plank, touch the knees down, up and back. Forward to plank, touch the knees down, up and back to downward dog. Bring the knees down to the mat. Sink the hips back toward the heels. Lower the forehead down to the mat or create a little pillow with your hands in your child's pose. You can keep the hands stretched out if you prefer, or you can wrap them all the way around the sides of the body. Explore your breath in your child's pose. Coming up onto hands and knees. Curl your toes under at the back. Draw the hips up and back for downward dog. And walk the feet toward the hands. When your feet are near your hands, again, you can keep a bend in the knees if you need it. You can keep them straight if that feels good to you. We're going to ignite the core by lifting the left foot off the ground and tapping the toes to the wrist and back down. Right toes off the mat to the wrist and down, alternating side to side. And then relax everything in your body in that forward fold, coming up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. We're going to be moving down onto the mat for our side plank. And before we do that, I wanted to share with you, there's a few different versions that you might want to explore. And each one has varying levels of difficulty. And difficulty might be different from one body to the next. So I'll start off with the simplest and easiest version of the three. And that would be to extend along your mat with your elbow underneath your shoulder. And starting with your legs stacked one on top of another, take the top leg and move it forward. From here, we're able to draw the hip up off the floor, take the hand up into the air, and the gaze goes up toward the ceiling. If you're there, you can stay there. That's your side plank. If you'd like a different version, you can come up a little high. Actually, one more before I leave there. You can stay on your elbow. Remember to come out of it at any point if you need to. If your elbow is underneath your shoulder, you can keep both feet stacked on top of each other. That's a little bit more challenging. Hand goes up into the air, gaze goes up toward the ceiling. And alternately, you can start off in your plank pose, roll on your feet to the side, and draw your hand up into the air. That way you want your hand underneath your shoulder and hip up in the air. And to change on that one, you just simply go to the other side. If you are down on the mat, exploring your side plank, feel free to swing to the other side. Take the elbow underneath the shoulder, stack the feet one on top of another, or top one in front. Drawing your hip up off the mat, hand into the air, gaze up toward the ceiling. Lowering down when you're ready. Those side planks, something that you need to explore for yourself is where that spot is for you, that you can hold it where you're not carrying too much tension in your upper body, that you're not stopping your breath from being somewhat natural. You can see I'm getting a little bit winded at this point, but it's always fun to talk and do yoga at the same time. It adds a little challenge for me personally. From here, we're going to come down onto our hands and knees. This I would not recommend for anyone who has knee issues. So if you've had knee surgery, if you have a condition or injury that you're working with in your knees, I would not recommend this reclined hero pose. So for those of you who would like to explore it, you can come onto your knees, sink your hips down to your heels, And then we're going to begin, some people do feel that they need to make space by flattening down their calves and pressing them out of the way. If that helps you, feel free to draw your hands out once the calves have been flattened down, and begin to walk your hands backward so that you can draw yourself down onto your forearms. And that might be where you want to stop for today. If you'd like to take it a little further, you can come down onto your back slowly, and you might notice that my knees just came straight up into the air. I want to make sure to ease forward so that my knees can come back down to the mat, and then you feel that beautiful stretch through the front of the thighs. If it's available to you and you're comfortable here, see if you can let go of any tension in your throat and your jaw. Not only is there a gorgeous stretch through the front of the thighs, there's also an opening of the chest. And when you're ready to come up and out of this pose, you can begin to stack your hands underneath you, drawing up onto those elbows again, pressing up onto the hands to come all the way up and out of that reclined hero pose. We're going to move on to our side. I'm going to guide you through a supported shoulder stand and plow. And when I explore this, what I wanted to share with you is we need to take our time in building up a practice. And if this isn't available to you now, it might be at some point in time. And here's a nice way to see if you're ready to enter and exit this pose in the way that I'm guiding it today. If you don't have back injuries and you feel comfortable rolling through your back, we're going to see if our hips will come up off the floor. So you can just explore that. A little bit of movement going up and back, forward and backward on the mat. Now, if that was comfortable to you, you can try to hover for a moment and see how high up off the mat are your hips getting. Are they getting high enough that you might be able to place your hands on your lower back? If that's available to you, roll up, bring the hips up, plant the hands on the lower back. You want to make sure that the elbows are fairly close together. And then once your hands are on your lower back, you can begin to straighten your legs up toward the ceiling. Now, if that's available to you and it feels good in your body, you can also begin to draw the legs down behind your head into what is called plow pose. If the toes touch down, you can leave them there. You can keep your hands on your lower back if that's where they're most comfortable, or you can draw them down to the mat. A pose like this can be very nice for compression. It can also be very relaxing and calming. It's a great one to do before bed if you've had a busy or stressful day and you need to reset and start to unwind. And when we're ready to come out of these poses, one of the important things to remember is that our arms are the brakes. So we're going to keep our arms down flat and slowly lower the back down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Bringing a bend in the knee, bring the feet down to the floor. Keeping your knees fairly close together. We're going to press the spine into the mat and draw the hips up off the floor. Bringing the hands together underneath the back. And then shimmying the shoulder blades together to get a nice deep arch in the back if that's available to you. We're going to lift the hips up. Keep the knees fairly close together. Check in that the glutes are engaged but they're not clenched. Not clenching the jaw, not holding the breath. Lifting the hips up. Releasing your fingers first, shimmy the shoulder blades apart and draw the spine back down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Taking your arms out to a T at your sides, inhale and draw the knees up toward your chest. And as you exhale, bring them down slowly to the left side. Take your gaze toward your right hand. If you want a more intense stretch, you can straighten the legs, bringing the feet out toward the left hand. If the legs are straight, bring a bend back into the knees. Draw the knees up to center. And let them go down slowly to the other side, taking the head toward the left hand. Straightening the legs if you want to for a deeper stretch. On your next inhale, come back up to center. Wrap your arms around your knees and allow yourself to rock side to side to give yourself a gentle massage. And then tighten everything up in your body. Bring your head and shoulders up off the mat. Flex your feet, tighten all of your muscles. Draw breath in and hold it. And then as you exhale, feel free to relax and let everything come down to the mat. Stretch out your arms and your legs at your sides, settling into the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Shavasana is your final resting pose, where you focus your mind and relax your body. For me to help lead you in Shavasana, I'm going to ask you to start to bring all of your energy and attention into your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. Layer in breath with mantra, breathing in, I am, breathing out, here. And I'll leave you here in Shavasana to rest and focus for as long as you need. Thank you for sharing, and Namaste Thunder Bay.